Since 2013, this time of year is when people start downloading any app they can to get their top 9 Instagram posts of the year. I'm sure you know the trend that I'm talking about. You download the app, you put in your profile, and it spits out your top 9 photos from the year in terms of whichever one's got the most likes. So that is the inspiration for training this week. However, we are not focusing on social media. We are focusing on the top 9 moments that shaped your business and gave you the most insight or joy this year. And this is all about intentional reflection. We're going to really focus on these moments, these top 9 moments across 2024 in a variety of different categories in order to make sure that you can bring more of this into 2025. The more you focus on something, the more attention you give it, the more energy you give it, the more it's going to appear in your life, the more abundant whatever that thing is going to be. So instead of thinking about all of the things you didn't get done or all of the moments that were less than ideal or stressful or that interaction that made you feel super anxious, we're going to focus on the really wonderful components of your year, the top things, so that that is the energy that's at the front of your mind moving into the new year. And by working through these moments and finding these top 9 moments, these reflections are going to help you not only replicate that success and expand on that success next year, but also it's going to help you learn from different challenges. But most of all, it's going to help you identify what truly matters most to you in your business, which is going to help you have the perspective and mindset shift that you need to scale your business in a way that makes the most sense and feels the best for you moving forward. So we're going to dive in. I'm going to talk you through each of these 9 moments that you're going to think about, and feel free to pause the training while you are thinking about it, or to jot it down, or to go back through your receipts or whatever it is to find and spark your memory. Okay, so let's jump in. The first thing you're going to talk about is your favorite project of the year. Now, this project could be a paid offer. It could be something that you were working on, like your website. It could be a collaboration you were doing with someone. Maybe it was an event you were planning. Maybe it was a particular new product that you were making. Any sort of project this year that made you the happiest or gave you the most satisfaction. So this doesn't mean that the result was like the most money that this project made you, or made the biggest impact, or had the biggest return on an investment, whatever it is. This is the thing that made you the happiest and brought you the most joy. So that could be from a personal fulfillment perspective. It could be because it led to really amazing client feedback or a great relationship with your client. Maybe it is because it was really fun and then it happened to make you a lot of money, or maybe it sparked a pivot, or whatever it is. The reason that this is your favorite project is totally personal. But something probably popped up in your mind while I was talking about what your most favorite thing that you finished this year was. And when we're thinking about that, you're going to take the components of that and the energy of that and think, okay, how can I bring more of this into next year? What was it about this project that I really loved and that made me feel so fulfilled and happy? And how can I be bringing more of that into the new year? If it was because you've been trying to learn more about SEO and you finally dove in deep and feel like you have a really good handle on that, what's the next thing on your list that you really want to learn and you're going to feel that sense of accomplishment with? Maybe it was working with a dream author and you got to do an illustration with them or something. How can you go out of your way to have another project with that person, or to reach more of your favorite authors? There are so many different ways that you can look back on the things that made you happy and then focus on bringing more of that happiness into your business moving forward. Once you've got that sorted out, you're going to move on to thinking about your best client experience. The experience with a client or customer that made you feel the most connected or proud of your business. So again, this is nothing to do with like the highest spend of a client or your biggest repeat customer, your most loyal customer. which client experience made you feel the most connected and proud? So maybe they had a really important custom order. They wanted you to create a memorial for their dog who had passed, and they had flowers from their dog's last walk, and you put those into a piece of jewelry, and that's so special to them. And after that experience, they sent you a really long, grateful email that just went to show how much that custom order meant to them. Maybe that experience is something that has really stood out to you and really made an impact on you this year. And that person is now going to go out there and refer you. And every time they look at this beautiful necklace, they're thinking about you. What experience can you remember, can you draw on that made you feel really appreciated, really seen, really connected to your clients? And then how can we bring that forward into the next year? Is it having a different onboarding process? Is it having more feedback specific after your products have been sent out? Is it about connecting with them more on a personal level or opening up? What is it about that experience that allowed it to make such an impact on your life? And how can we be bringing more of that and creating more of that connection and those strong client relationships moving forward, so that these customers who have these really impactful moments and experiences and transactions with you are going to be coming back. They are going to become those loyal customers who are going to be filling your inbox with amazing testimonials and referring their friends, whatever it is. So after you figured out that one, the most kind of feel-good sale, I want you to think about your biggest sale. What was the most profitable thing that you put out this year? And remember when we went back to last training, we were talking about profitability. We want to make sure that this is not necessarily the highest financial transaction in your business, but the most profitable one. Because it's possible that you have a very expensive product, but because of how much the cost of goods are to make it, it's actually not that most profitable one. Or maybe you have a really expensive service, but because of the time and the people that you had to outsource to help you with it, it's not the most profitable. So if you want, you can think both, because maybe it's fun to think about the highest cash value that you had, but it's also really helpful to think about the most profitable offer that you had. And when you're highly aware of this, then you can be thinking about, okay, how am I going to double down on this next year? What am I bringing into 2025 so that I can increase these big sales, increase these really profitable sales, and focus on that so that my revenue has no choice but to grow in 2025. And finally, the last moment you're going to think about in terms of your sales is your easiest sales. What sale came through the most effortlessly? And what happened leading up to that? So maybe it was a brand new follower found you because they saw your reel, and then they saw there was a link in your bio and they right away went to purchase from you. Maybe it was you put out a random thread on Threads and that person went to find you on Instagram and you had a conversation and it just kind of spiraled from there and you hopped on a discovery call and now you're booking services. Maybe it was a word of mouth referral and you didn't even do anything and that person just bought from you. Maybe you were out at a networking event and everything just kind of fell into place. What was the situation in which you made money in your business with the least amount of stress and effort? And when you're thinking about this, I want you to think about, okay, that's obviously what we want. We want to bring as much ease and revenue into our business as possible. So what was it about this situation that made it so effortless, and how can we encourage more of that? Do you need to be going to more networking events? Do you need to be explicitly asking your clients to refer you? Do you need to be posting more lead generation content or posting more links on the daily on your stories for people to actually go and buy? Should you be doubling down on Threads? What is it about that strategy that led that client to the sale that we can replicate moving forward in order to increase the amount of sales that are coming in, but also decrease the amount of effort that it takes to create those sales? Okay, next up, I want you to think about your most meaningful testimonial. So this doesn't necessarily need to be like the longest, most heartfelt email that landed in your inbox after someone received their product or after someone had their service. I want you to think about something that meant the most to you, had the most emotional or motivational impact. It could be because you were really insecure about your offer and then someone just sent a simple, "This was truly amazing." Or maybe you felt like you were overthinking something and you were really awkward in your course video and someone said, "Wow, this was exactly what I needed to hear." Whatever it was, what stands out to you in terms of client feedback, client testimonial, that really made you feel like you've figured something out and you've done something right? Because the more we can focus on these experiences and the more you can screenshot them or print them out and put them on your wall or keep them on a note in your phone, whatever is the easiest access for you, the more that you can go back to those and give yourself that evidence of, okay, I am making an impact. People are appreciating what I'm doing and getting results from it or loving it, the better it's going to be for you. So this is a wonderful way to remind yourself about your value and your transformation that you provide to your clients in one way or another, so that you can focus on this intentionality moving into 2025 and how, yes, you are in a business and you are selling, but it is a reciprocal relationship. And taking a moment to remind yourself that, yes, you are getting money when someone purchases from you, but they're getting something as well. And the fact that you have these testimonials proving to you that it was worth it to them, it's going to be so much easier for you to show up and sell all year long, knowing that you're not just out here scamming or sleazing. What you're doing has value, it has meaning, and people are appreciating that. Okay, this next one's gonna ruffle some feathers. So this one, for this moment, I want you to think about, what was the most amount of time off that you took this year? And how did that impact your business? And this is going to be important for setting the tone and the expectations of your work-life balance moving forward, and how taking time off impacts your business in whatever way that it did manifest this year. So let's say the most you took off was a solid week at Christmas. And when you came back, you found it really, really hard to settle into work, and you found that you had lost 10 followers and you hadn't gotten any orders during that time frame, whatever it is. Okay, that's one thing to think about. Maybe you are going to be like, okay, the most time I took off was one weekend. I didn't even look at my phone that entire weekend because we were off grid and literally nothing happened. There was no impact on my business. Amazing. Remember that. Maybe you're going to think, I don't remember the last time I took time off from my business. No matter what the result is, you can learn something from it, because you're going to be thinking, are you happy with this response or unhappy with this response? And how can you shift moving in to 2025? If the most time you took off, your top time off in 2024 was one weekend, how do we expand this in 2025? How do you ensure that you're taking more time off so that you are not burning out? If the most time you took off was 2 solid weeks and everything fell apart after, then how are we going to prevent this falling apart from happening in the new year? Because it doesn't mean, okay, I can never take time off in my business. It means, how can I set myself up for success in order to take time off without having an extreme negative impact? Because with automations, with scheduling, with intentional planning of your calendar, there's no reason that time off should negatively impact your business. But in order to know how much time off you need, how much feels good to you, how much is manageable for you, you need to know where you're starting from. So you need to look at the maximum time off you took off this past year and where you lie on the spectrum of if that was enough, not enough, and the impact that it had on your business. All right, we got 3 more. So the next one I want you to think about is your biggest takeaway or your key learning from 2024. If you were to look back on your year in business and the business owner that you started the year with last January to where you are now, what's been the biggest change? Maybe it's been that you actually are capable of making big sales months. Maybe it's that you did your first big launch, or you made your first digital product, or you went to your first in-person networking event, or you had your first table booth, whatever it is. What is the biggest standout takeaway, key learning that you pushed yourself through this year? And do you want to do that again next year? Or is there something related to that or completely different to that that you want? Think about your biggest takeaway from this last year and how that makes you feel. And what do you want your biggest takeaway key learning to be at the end of next year? If you're kind of like, okay, I don't really know, like this was kind of meh, I guess I did this, and you're not that excited about it, then how do you plan ahead for all of next year to make sure that you're not in this position again? What do you want to say was your biggest takeaway or your biggest learning at this time next year? This one is a fast one. Your favorite collaboration this year. The most fun or rewarding or impactful way that you worked with another business owner in order to have some impact in your business. So maybe it was like going on an Instagram live or doing a freebie swap, or even just like bringing them a coffee when you were at the market beside them. What was your favorite way that you collaborated, connected with another small business owner? And if you're feeling like I literally didn't do this, then this should be definitely a goal for you in 2025, because you don't need to be out here in solopreneur land all by yourself working in a void. There are so many people who are out there in the exact same boat as you and who would love to collaborate with you. Collaborations are so beneficial, not only for your business, but for your personal relationships as well. So think about the small or the big ways that you were able to work with other business owners this year, and then thinking about how you want to bring that into the new year and how often and the types of people that you want to be collaborating with as we move forward. And finally, I would love to know your most memorable moment of the year. What moment in your business stands out the most from 2024? Now, this is different from the biggest takeaway or key learning, because this doesn't need to be demonstrating any sort of like knowledge growth or significant change. It's just something that really stood out to you. Maybe it's when you opened your phone and you had like 10 new followers. Maybe it's when someone made the biggest order you've ever gotten, or you got a really great referral, or you learned something new, or you bought a new computer, whatever it is. What is the most memorable moment from your business this year? And did you take the time to celebrate that? If you reached a milestone moment, your first $100, your first $1,000 month, whatever it is, did you give yourself that space to celebrate and be excited about that? Because if not, then now is the time. Now is the time to sit, be proud of yourself, and make sure that you are truly giving yourself the credit you deserve for everything that you've been doing in your business. Okay, so I know I just said so many things to you. If you need to go back and listen to this episode, this training, highly recommend that you do so and you pause me so that you can actually be thinking through your moments. I don't want you to breeze by this. It is so tempting when you sit through a training like this to be like, okay, well, I was thinking about it while she was talking and now I'm going to move on with my day. It is going to give you so much impact and be so beneficial if you actually do take the time to do this training and do this exercise. So set aside the next 20 minutes and go through the top 9 of your year. Pause the podcast as you need to. Go back through and listen, skip ahead. Just start thinking about it, start writing it down. And the more concrete you've gotten in your reflections from the last year and the things that made you happy and the things that need to change, the more impactful your planning is going to be in creating the space and the type of business that feels the best to you.